I forgot to mute Twitch, so that's great.
Jesus.
So this is a good start to the day, and it can only go downhill from here.
Nah, this is gonna go fine. Anyways, Nick, how much did you sleep tonight?
I slept 6 hours. Unfortunately, I can't seem to sleep more, so that sucks. So I woke up at like 6 a.m. So yeah, no.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And you went. You went to bed at like what 2, 3, and woke 10.
I actually went to bed. This is why I hate my own body, because I went to bed at half an hour before 1 o'clock, 1 a.m. And I ended up falling asleep half an hour before 5.
Oh, okay. So you pulled me in high school, which is kind of relevant for what we're going to be talking about today, which is we're going to be talking about Jordan Petersons' book 12 Rules for Life, and we are at Rule 3 currently, and it states: make friends with people who want the best for you. And
Yeah.
the best for you isn't being up at 5 a.m. if you were ever in doubt.
Yeah, no, I'm shocked, dude. Well, the reason why I think it's kind of psychological, because I normally don't stay up until almost 5 a.m. But I knew that I wanted to change my sleeping schedule around, right? So then I just ended up. I couldn't fall asleep because I had to change my sleeping schedule, and to change my sleeping schedule, I had decided that I was gonna wake up at around 3. No, 3. What the fuck? I was gonna wake up at around 8 or 9 a.m. Right? So then my body just I'm not gonna let you sleep before 3 or 4 or even 5, and it was just like, fuck you, dude. It's not happening.
I've had those. That was my life in high school. I didn't sleep at all, as you, as my close friend, should have known or should have seen.
Yeah, no, dude, you were.
I had chronic sleep deprivation.
Yeah, like insomnia almost.
Not quite, but close.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh. It's pretty harsh. Now, anyways, one really interesting thing is that when we talk about Rule 3, Jordan Peterson starts out with explaining how he grew up, the friends he had around him. And for those who have not read the book, Jordan Peterson grew up in a town called Alberta, which is like a mountainy kind of town or something. You know, didn't have a lot of technology. Of course, when he grew up in the 60s, 70s probably. Or was the 60s? Shit, Nick, bail me out.
Fuck, I don't know. I think it was 60s. I could wiki it.
Well,
Yeah.
it was probably 60s into 70s when I think about it.
Yeah, probably. He was born in 62, so he grew up in the 70s actually. 70s, 80s, so he's about the age of a little bit older than our parents, I would say.
He's actually 1 year older than my dad, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he grew up in he was adolescent in the 80s, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so either way, he's from a small place. You know, it was very cold, as it is in some places in Canada. And the really interesting thing, especially for us, is that here in Norway, we have grown up, at least in Nick's case, during his adolescence, we have grown up in a small kind of mountain town with around 5,000 inhabitants. And it's as cold as it is in Alberta, at least according to what it said in the chapter.
I have to clarify here. When he says 5,000, it's in the whole commune. So this is everything around us in about I was going to say 200 Norwegian miles, but that's a little bit extreme.
Yeah, that's pretty damn extreme.
You could at least go for a few hundred kilometers, 150 maybe, around us. Nah.
No. It's around, at some places around 50 kilometers. But either way, it's a big area. And this was the largest area that people lived in.
It was the largest town in that area, and there was about 3,000 in the whole town spread out, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember my numbers correctly.
Yeah, no, you're right. Around 2,000 who lived in the town itself. and it was cold as hell. For those who use Celsius, we had, or rather, for those who use Fahrenheit, I can't tell you what temperature we had, but for those who used Celsius, we had around minus 40 degrees at times, and it was cold as hell. And a lot of the things that I went through in the first chapter is something that it really resonated with me, because I've grown up, although in much later years, I've grown up in similar circumstances in a lot of ways. You know, how the youth acted with the parties, how they were.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, also, if in it's minus 22 Fahrenheit at an average winter, I would say.
Yeah.
Which is minus 30 up and down. I think is average for Tynset, or could be average for Tynset on a little bit harsh winter, I think.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's average or not, but we've had temperatures like that and temperatures much colder.
Yeah, it was
several
pretty bad.
times. It sucked.
Yeah, especially when you walk to school.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's another thing he was talking about, like how your eyelashes just freeze, your hair, if it's wet, just freezes, you know.
We got anime hair, and quite literally with the white spikes and everything. It was anime hair day if you didn't wear a hat or some kind of something to protect your ears or hair with. So yeah, you would have white hair fairly often. We were lucky though, because we were surrounded by mountains, so we had no wind, so it wasn't as cold as it would have been with a cold wind too.
Yeah, that would actually have been extreme.
It would have been unbearable.
Probably have died.
Probably not, but I don't think there would be much outside activity.
No. Anyways, just to go into what this chapter is actually about. So, as the title says, the chapter is all about making friends with people who want the best for you. And then it, of course, also goes into how you are a good friend to others.
Then how they're a good friend back to you. And then he goes out for some warning signs you should be looking out for, both for the good and for the best of you. Mostly if, let's say you make an accomplishment, right? You get an A on a test, which is relevant for us. Where then it's like there's two responses. He clarifies which one is good and one is bad, right? The bad one is where he comes up with his own, where your friend comes up with his own achievement, try to one up yours, right, and undermine your achievement. Where the other one is genuinely happy for you, and will help you to their best of the ability to make something out of the potential you have, instead of trying to minimize the potential.
Yeah, like in a lot of cases, it's basically just about not being an asshole in a lot of ways, right? If someone accomplishes something, then let them have that accomplishment, you know, let them actually be happy about it, support them, and also make sure that they don't stray away from what they want to do. Like, good friends can push each other. They don't. Oh, actually, yeah, one thing that I thought about.
Yeah, I was going to mention that earlier, but go on.
Yeah, I was going to bring it actually kind of into the controversy that Jordan Peterson was in about the pronouns, because this is kind of what he's talking about, you know? He's talking about a good person wants the best for another human being, and what he thinks is that in terms of the pronouns, right? Doing exactly what they want him to do, which is using the pronouns, is not necessarily what's best for them. And that's also what he's talking about being good friends. You know? If you need to do something negative to make the friend... What should I say? If you need to do something that seems negative for the other person, but it helps him in the long run, then you need to do that. And you need to surround yourself with people who are willing to do that, who are willing to point out your mistakes in a way that can make you a better person.
While not trying to grind you into the dust, which is by these mistakes, right? So they try to help you offer solutions, and then will genuinely, out of their own will, try to do what is best for you, or what they believe is best for you, without any old what's the word? No, I'm looking.
Ulterior motives.
Yeah, that's the one. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's a fine line, obviously, because I understand how what I said can sound like it kind of contradicted what we were talking about earlier, because on the one side it's tearing someone down, but in a constructive way, and on the other side it's building them up by acknowledging their achievements, right? It's like, it's not, you can do both, but it's a really fine line to walk to actually not to destroy the other person or whatever.
Well, the thing is, right, there's two differentiating ways they do this. One tears it down and wants to keep the foundation being torn down, while the other one wants to tear down a bad foundation and then help you build something better.
Yeah, that's a really good explanation. It's a really good explanation for it. Now to just talk a little bit about what is in the chapter itself. Jordan Peterson talks quite a lot about Friendiad, which I do. I'm not going to name any names, but I also do not recognize myself, but I feel like I've experienced something similar about having a friend, right? Who's, he could do a lot of things, he could achieve a lot.
Yeah.
But then he just kind of, he doesn't. And I'm not talking about you, by the way.
No, I know. We can. I guess we can just call him Chris, like the friend in the book, right?
And I'm not saying this person is doing the same as that Chris fellow. That's not what I'm saying at all. Not at all.
I don't think so either.
It was a kind of person who I knew could basically do whatever he wanted, because he was like, I personally feel that I can accomplish a lot, but this guy could accomplish more than me if he just worked. And that's really frustrating to talk about, but that's kind of what Jordan was talking about the Chris fellow, because Chris was so intelligent, or he was really intelligent.
He was smart, he read a lot, and he liked science fiction, and he had a bright future. Where then, I believe his explanation, or his later reflection on the relationship comes down to how he was mad at his father, and that relationship kind of tore down his willingness to build something more of himself.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, that must have been such a toxic relationship. It's actually too bad that he didn't go into more, but I guess he couldn't. He didn't know more about that relationship.
He might have, but I don't feel like if he knew, it was his place to tell.
No, that's certainly true. It is a very sensitive topic after all.
Yes.
But anyways, what ended up happening was, of course, that they obviously grew apart. When you live in a small town like that, everyone just, like, very different people can still end up kind of hanging out during your youth. When you're 16 or 17, people are in.
I would say it's actually inevitable when you're in such a small place, right? Because everybody will know everybody. And then, while they might not be the best of friends, there's only a set amount of people. And then these people are going to find each other to do something. So, like we saw, we had several of our different, at least in my sense, sometimes there would be cross. I was going to say cross parties, but it's going to be cross. What's the fuck? I lost the word.
No, it just sounds like you're talking about transvestites.
No, I'm talking about, we had the musical people, right? Then we had the sports folks, and then we had the nerds and the normal people, right?
Yeah, no, I completely get what you mean.
And cross-study parties, yes, that's the one. We can say that. Yeah. They would then intermingle, and they would regularly have parties together, mainly because there's not. We were quite a few people, but we weren't that many, so we would run into each other, especially when we left to go from the private parties to go into town. While I believe our town is more urban than his is, mainly just by the way he describes it. So that
we actually had somewhere we could go out, right?
We had 3 places at one point.
Yeah.
We had the classical sports bar, then we had the failure of a nightclub, and then we had
another nightclub.
Yeah, that was more a disco kind of thing, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, it was a nightclub-ish for the little bit older.
Anyways. Go on.
Yeah, so we had a little bit more outlife, so we would meet there instead of we would meet at people's home. So we didn't have the house wreckers or home wreckers that came in and ruined the party because they saw lights. So we could be a little bit more wild than what he describes, because that sounds, let's just call it gloomy. If you have to have low music and lights turned down, so people that keeps driving the road doesn't see you and crashes it.
You know, there wasn't a lot of crashers, but there were a lot of house parties.
There was a lot of house parties. No, don't get me wrong about it, but it's not in the same spirit to the same degree.
Certainly not.
Some of it we can relate to. Some of the parties have been described or have been something like that, where it's a little bit toned down, where you can't actually amuse yourself too well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, certainly. But anyways, the point I was talking about, right, is that when you live like that, then everyone is kind of very similar. You can even see it, like when you think about it, when you go to middle school, everyone has the same subjects. Once you get into high school, people start dividing, but you still have like primarily the same subjects in a lot of cases.
Yeah, we would have we would have I would say 2 out of 4 subjects would be the same, and then and then depending on what people chose, you would have up to 3 of the same. 3 out of 4 subjects would be the same in general.
Yeah. But once you get to university and once you get older, it's much more specialized, right? It's just that exact study, and most people who choose similar are in some ways a little bit similar too, right?
It's relatively safe to assume so. There would be a lot of people that have similar interest if they know what they want to study. Otherwise, they might be randomers that is a roamers, so to speak, right?
Yeah. So anyways, Chris was the type of middle school, high school kind of pal, kind of friend to Jordan Peterson, and Jordan had a lot of hopes for him in a way, you know, because he was a smart guy. But what ended up happening was that he got addicted to pot, I think.
Yeah, marijuana, yeah.
Yeah.
He started smoking that a lot.
Yes.
It said and whether that was an addiction or a way to escape, I don't think he was quite sure about, or it's not mentioned. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, and you know, we can only guess why he did that, why he started smoking. Was it his dad, or perhaps it also was the fact that it has to suck knowing, because he has probably heard what Jordan is talking about, that he is a smart guy, that he could do whatever he wants, right?
Mm.
And think about just how much that must suck when you've basically wasted your entire youth, when you could have done something, and then you sit there and you don't have a job, you don't have opportunities, you know, you probably finished high school, but you probably didn't have any grades enough to get into college. Perhaps it's too expensive.
No,
you know, what do you do with your life?
He clarifies in this period, expenses aren't a problem, so that's not the thing. Grades, could be a thing.
Or perhaps he just didn't want to do it, of course.
He could do it out of spite. I believe he was angry by working at this low-paying job, so he was constantly mad or angry against the world. So he didn't have an outlet for the anger, mainly because they didn't take school clubs so seriously, and they weren't really a thing, which is what Jordan would have liked, and many other people he assumes would have liked to indulge in as well. Though the cultural assumption was doing nothing is cool.
Yeah, and I think a really interesting. I'm going to paraphrase this, but what Jordan basically says about the weed smoking was that he wasn't sure if the weed smoking that Chris did was like he wasn't sure if the reason why things were going to hell was the weed, or if the weed was just a mechanism that Chris used to be able to cope with his reality.
Yeah, I can relate to the. I mean, he is an underachiever, right? If he's highly intelligent, he doesn't live up to his potential. He's stuck in a low end job. He does not enjoy. I can to some degrees relate to that. I personally fucked up my high school pretty bad. So yeah, I am.
But you've been trying to fix it at least.
I've been trying, yeah, going up and down. But yeah, it's fine. I don't think I'm that. Don't think I'm resentful. In the same way he is. I don't have the same anger at anything. So that's great.
You're not gonna burn the school down tomorrow.
No, it's too cold and there's too much snow.
Oh no! It's gonna be plus degrees outside. You know?
Oh, wait! This changes my whole plan. Let me go buy some gasoline.
You gotta go shopping now, dude. You gotta get that gasoline.
And then I gotta go take what fucking 600-kilometer drive.
Yeah.
With the gasoline. Then hit Tunset.
Burn it down to the ground.
I mean, I would be doing everybody a favor. That school is so ugly.
Yeah.
And so depressing to be in. I don't know how you handle a school that's all black and white and the walls are black. It's like, ugh. And then the grey concrete, ugh. No. Get me out.
That's true. It was actually really dark. It was really black.
It was really dark. Only thing that ever broke up the dampened colors was the wooden panel, which just gave my eyes made my eyes go crazy, so I couldn't be down in the gathering hall. I couldn't be there. Yeah. I couldn't look at that wall. It literally made me nauseous.
Yeah, it's a really weird design choices because the school was completely new. Like we were the first class
we moved
who went a full year.
Yeah, basically. We were the first part of the classes, right? So we would have been second year that year.
Oh yeah. We started second year. That's true. We started second year on the new school.
Yeah, but no, terrible thing.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, it was so bad.
It didn't help with the long winters and everything as well.
Yeah, in terms of I should clarify in case someone from the old days suddenly watched this. Had a lot of stuff. It was really good in terms of for music students. We had a lot of rooms. We had a lot of facilities.
The facilities of the school. The facilities were great. They were absolutely pristine for what you can expect from a high school. Though the design choice, I would have liked something a little bit more lively.
It was a lot of things because it also seemed like they went for such fancy design that there weren't even enough chairs for people to sit on. People had to roam around the hallways or just sit on the floor.
Yeah, no. But I don't think that was. That's not entirely true. There was chairs enough, but there was what do you call it? Desolate areas that wasn't in use. So a lot of some areas would be overpopulated and some would be scarce of people.
Yeah, but I'm talking about because especially for sections as music, we had our own section of the school. And every single time there were the student council people had to listen to the number one complaint was not enough chairs in the area outside our classrooms because you couldn't be in the classrooms usually during break.
No, because we couldn't because there was other classes taking place when we had breaks.
Yeah, exactly. All classrooms were usually in use. So you had to go out and you had to sit. And there were supposed to be places where you could sit. But for example, 3 classes of music, that's around 50 or 60 students. Yeah. And there were 8 chairs because there was one table that everyone gathered around.
Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about, right? Because they don't take into account how students act. They go in groups.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when you're a well-knit class as the MUA would be, or as
music education.
Yeah, musical or some of the study groups, right? They would then clump together in one space and would fill everything. So there wouldn't be enough chairs, and then another part of the school would be completely unused, and there would be plenty of chairs. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a problem.
Jesus, we just started complaining about the old school instead of the chapter.
Yes, but it brings back memories.
It really does.
It was a teenage wasteland because there wasn't really a lot to do if you weren't doing sports or music.
Yeah, and what it seems like, to kind of take it back into some of the things he was talking about, at least in the chapter, it seems like people usually make a choice when you live in a wasteland like that. You have the people who just want to get away and they want to do something completely different with their life. I actually remember we had a question from our teacher, which was exactly that. How many people are going to leave this place? How many people are going to come back? And how many people can never see themselves actually settling down here once they've gotten their education? And I think there were around...
Can I take a guess here before we start, right?
Yeah, sure.
20% is never going to return. About 40%, in addition to those 20, are going to be leaving. But then once they are starting a family and finish their education, about 20 to 40% of that will move back. About 10 to 15% won't leave, and I'm unsure about the rest.
Yeah, no, I think you're wildly off.
Am I wildly
First
off?
of all, yeah, people who said that they were going to leave because of education, that was pretty much 90% or something.
Yeah.
No, 95 something. But the people who said they were actually going to come back, that was... I think we were only 2 people who said we, probably weren't interested in coming back within 10 years or something.
I know I'm not.
Yeah, no, me neither. But yeah, I think it was only 2 or 3 people who said that. No, not interested in coming back here to settle down, basically.
Well, it is a great place to raise young children, but by the time they turn 12, you need to leave the place.
Well, you don't have to, but yeah.
Yeah, at that point it gets too small for a teenager. Was my feeling, at least.
You did come from a bigger place before, though, so...
Yeah, I came from 50,000 people,
Yeah.
so... I was annoyed at all the snow and nobody understanding me. It was hell. The first year was like I could not speak Norwegian. I could understand it perfectly well, but I could not speak Norwegian. And I went sports for the first year, and there's a varying degree of intellect on sports people, right? There's the smart but engaged in sports, and then we have the idiots who can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't understand me speaking Danish, so I had to speak English, and some of them was terrible at English, so it was just horrible. And then I got injured, so I couldn't play sports anyway, so I was literally just isolated that first year. It was fucking great.
Yeah, that really must have sucked. Wow. That sounds so horrible. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, I really don't know what more to say about this chapter, you know? Make friends with people who want the best for you. Make friends with people who can support you, but who can also be honest with you and be able to criticize you when you actually need to be criticized.
They will be honest, and they will be honestly cruel.
Yes.
Though I don't think honestly cruel is the right word.
No, they will be honest, dude.
They will be honest even if the truth hurts.
Yeah, that's just being honest, right?
Yeah, to a degree, yes.
Honest doesn't have to be a good thing after all.
This doesn't necessarily is, right? We would like, I mean, honesty, yes, is great for the most part, but if governments know the world is ending in 50 years, do we need to know? Right? Do we need to know? Because otherwise everything's gonna be fucked up, right?
Oh, Jesus.
So it's like, okay, there is an upper limit, I think, to the truth.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But I don't think an individual can have that and reach that ceiling.
Okay, so let's just agree on honesty is good, but white lies can be good at times, okay?
In especially specific circumstances.
Like the world ending, okay, I get it.
Oh, there was another thing he talks about, I just remembered, right? It's when you're moving to a new place. He talks about how you have an opportunity to change you change yourself.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you're moving to, usually like when you are about finish high school and need to go to university or college, that's the time when you can re-establish yourself, because you leave behind all of these previous notions of who you were based on history, which gives you an opportunity, as he happened to take, right, where he improved from the better. He found the right friends. Well, he found them after the first year of high school because his other friends dropped out. So he found some, or university. So he found people that were willing to work work as hard as he did and had the similar work ethics, which they then could build upon. And here he then comes back to reflection with his friend back from high school, which is now stoned out of his mind, but still no shame, but isn't so far gone so he doesn't know shame for what's going on around him, right?
Yeah.
The situation in the book is where he's moved to a university, studying there, living with his sister, I believe.
Yep.
The friend comes to visit, and the friend unannounced brings a stoner friend with him, and then makes a breach of trust, and is ashamed for it when he realizes what he's done. Where the other friend is so far gone, or so high, he doesn't even realize what the hell is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So moving to a new place is an opportunity to break away from the old mold and create something new.
Yeah.
Which you should take if you have the option.
If you feel like you need it. And it's always a time for reflection, for changing things, for growing. It can basically be summarized to be a proper friend, and being a proper friend doesn't mean always being nice. It means being honest, and it means helping the other people achieve basically their dreams, right? That's what it's about. Yeah. And you have to be careful of people who obviously don't want the best for you. They only want the best for themselves.
Or want to keep you down with them. But yeah.
Yes. But that's what's best for themselves, right? They want to keep you as like on their level. They don't want to feel that you're better than them, basically, is what it seems like.